frustrated because he knows he didn't do anything. I made a joke, but it's half jokingly, that the president has a hard time colluding with his staff, so I don't think he colluded with the Russians. Just give this thing the time you need, Mr. President. Stop tweeting. There's a system that's going to work, and I promise you this, Mr. President, you're going to be treated fairly in our committee, and I think this is a good day for you because, one, we now have it public that you're not a subject or target to an investigation regarding colluding with the Russians, and to any lawyer with a half a brain, they wouldn't let Comey testify if there was a really obstruction of justice case to be made because you wouldn't let your star witness go out in public. Now, what the president's got to do is just focus on infrastructure, focus on cutting taxes, and I'm going to promise the whole country that I'm not going to stand in the way of this investigation. I'm going to make sure the president treated fairly, but we're going to go down the road of did the Department of Justice and the DNC collude with each other to stop the Clinton email investigation.
No, that's another issue that we're going to talk about in a moment as well. Senator Lindsey Graham, always good to see you. Thank you so much, sir. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
Here with more, Charles Hurt, political columnist at the Washington Times, and Marie Harf, the former spokesperson for the Obama State Department. Both are Fox News contributors. Welcome to both of you. You know, something that Lindsey Graham just touched on is another part of this that I found interesting today, because basically James Comey said, well, when the president was asking me, you know, could I let this go, essentially, or would I get past this? It was my understanding, Jim Comey says, that he was only talking about that with regard to Flynn, not with regard to the broader Russia investigation, which I thought was interesting. You know, reading through the way that conversation went, according to James Comey, I don't know why he sort of understood it as this one specific slice of the pie and not the big picture, which makes it a pretty different thing.
Completely different. And of course, also something that was conveniently left out of the leak. Remember, the first time we ever heard about the memo that he had written to himself, which he should have done, and is not unusual because it was a private meeting between two federal officials. The first thing that we were just heard about it from a reporter who had portions of it read to him by somebody that clearly Comey had given the memo to.
And we still don't know where those notes are. They haven't been turned over to anybody. We had Jason Chaffetz here. He said, turn over the notes. Are they with the Justice Department? Are they in your back pocket? Or are they at your house?
And they're not classified. So he said today, said that because they're not classified, they should turn them over to Congress.
Yeah. And Jim Comey doesn't own those. Those are public records. They are, and they memorialized a private meeting between two public officials that we, as American people, have a right to either know about or have them classified. And as we know from Jim Comey's
investigation of Hillary's emails, those are all public property, right? And you have to turn them over.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Marie, when you read through, I said this is sort of novel-like as you read through this. The first meeting at the White House, they go in. He says, would you like to bring your family? But tonight, please come alone.
Yes.
Right? And they're sitting in the green room at this table, and he says, so, do you still want that job? And he says, well, it was my understanding that I already told you that I do definitely want the job. So then he starts to wonder what's up with that. What really stood out to you as you went through this today?
Well, one thing I would take a little bit of issue with one of the things you just said. He did say that the conversation about Flynn, he understood to just be about the Flynn investigation. But the two phone calls that came later where President Trump called him, and you can just see the president stewing, sitting in the Oval Office, picking up the phone and calling Jim Comey. He understood that to mean let's get rid of this cloud over the whole Russia investigation.
Of course, right? I mean, I think that's a logical conclusion.
It's a logical conclusion, and just because something doesn't rise to the level of obstruction of justice, and I'm not sure this does, I'm not an attorney, there are a lot of different opinions on this, it can still bother us that the president, in my opinion, inappropriately tried to ask the FBI director to do things regarding certain ongoing investigations.
Clearly, it's not the way things are done in Washington between the president and the FBI director. But you've got a guy that was elected because he didn't know how things are done in Washington. And think about the frustration he feels. He won the election running on very specific issues about terror, about health care, about all the things, immigration, all the things that he... And then there's this Russia investigation. Everybody keeps talking about Russia. And then he goes to the people that are investigating, and they're like, oh, yeah, there's nothing there. Don't worry about it. And he's like, well, you got to go out and tell people that I got this agenda. I want to... But all anybody will talk about is Russia. And they're like, no, sir, we can't do that. And he's like, wait a minute. I thought don't you work for me? And it's got to be
Well, I
confusing
mean, you
for-
can't, they don't work for him in that sense, and they're investigating people from his campaign. But I understand what you're saying, because he had been told 3 times. And it's funny, when you read through them, you're like, oh, there's time number 1.
I know.
It's like
And you
Peter will
look for
betray me
them.
3 times. Oh, there's time number 2. And there's time number 3. So it's fascinating to me that I thought that, James Comey was going to take issue with telling him that 3 times, but he doesn't. He clearly lays it out in here, Marie.
He clearly lays it out. I actually was happy with how forthcoming he was on a number of issues. What I think is the broader question we've all talked about on your show a number of times, we've talked about, if Donald Trump had never fired Jim Comey, we wouldn't have a special prosecutor. We would not have Jim Comey testifying tomorrow about these private conversations. We might be actually talking about Infrastructure Week, which is what he wants to get back on. So taking it to a political point, so much of this is Donald Trump's own making.
Yeah, I'm sure Democrats would allow him to be talking about infrastructure week if it weren't for this.
I thought it was interesting. I heard Chris Christie say today, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a New York conversation that they had in that room.
It is.
That's all it is. It's a New York conversation.
100% New York.
Thanks, you guys. Great to see you both.
Thank you.
So still ahead with all of the mayhem in the media now on Capitol Hill over the Russia investigation, the president getting back to the business of leading the country and focusing on one issue that affects us all, bridges and roads. He would like very much for that to be the sole focus. It was supposed to be Infrastructure Week, as Marie Harf pointed out. But first, ahead of Comey's big hearing, which is tomorrow, and it deals with the question of obstruction of justice. It's a term that's thrown around by a lot of people in the media. What does it mean, and is there any of it here? Judge Napolitano, straight ahead. And Chris Stirewalt here on what the former FBI director hopes to accomplish tomorrow now that he has the world's attention.
People suggest that the question that apparently the New York Times is selling, that you asked Comey whether or not you had his loyalty, was possibly inappropriate. Could you see how they would think that?
I read that article. I don't think it's inappropriate. Number
Did
one,
you
it
ask
isn't.
that question?
At Angie's List, we believe there are certain things you can count on. Like what goes down doesn't always come back up. So when you need a plumber, you can count on us to help you find the right person for the job. Discover all the ways we can help at Angie's List.
It's just a burst pipe. I can fix it.
No.
With Claim Rate Guard, your rates won't go up just because of a claim.
I totally could have.
No.
Switching to Allstate is worth it.
Hi. I'm the one clocking in when you're clocking out, sensing your every move and automatically adjusting to help you stay effortlessly comfortable. There. I can even warm these to help you fall asleep faster. Does your bed do that? Oh, I don't actually talk, though I'm smart enough to. I'm the new Sleep Number 360 Smart Bed. Let's meet at a Sleep Number store.
If you love your dad, give him a meal that he'll truly appreciate. The Omaha Steaks Father's Day gift is filled with over $200 worth of great food for just $59.99. That's 70% off only on this special offer. The Omaha Steaks Father's Day gift includes either Omaha Steaks 4 juicy, tender 6-ounce filet mignons or a huge 30-ounce T-bone steak. Plus, you'll get 4 gourmet jumbo franks, 4 premium ground beef sliders, 4 creamy potatoes au gratin, and Omaha Steaks signature steak seasoning. Dessert is a decadent 2-pound New York cheesecake. Your order will be delivered straight to your home or the destination of your choice for the perfect gift. As a special thanks from us to you, if you order right now, we'll include 4 more premium Omaha Steaks ground beef sliders free. That's 8 total. The Omaha Steaks Father's Day gift, over a $200 value for just $59.99. Give Dad a gift he can appreciate. Give him the Father's Day gift from Omaha Steaks today.
I can access the ATM with just my phone.
Yep. Now in the Wells Fargo mobile app, you can request a one-time access code to use the ATM.
That's much better. You know, that would come in handy when I'm out for a run.
Or a bike ride.
Or when you left your card in your yesterday parents.
Or walking the dog.
Or walking your dog. I have a dog.
That is exactly the situation this was invented for. I love walking my dog.
We're dog people.
Everyone loves dogs.
It's genius. Have you ever just sat down and talked to a dog?
The testimony shaking D.C., the election that could change the U.K. The specialists have the first key results from England. Then, Brett Baer and Martha McCallum get all the real fallout.
There are many firefighters that have experienced hearing loss, and I'm one of them. Missing a statement that could get somebody injured, it's critical.
Right now, Beltone is offering free hearing evaluations.
Hearing loss can be corrected. It doesn't slow me down in a bit.
If you're one of the 48 million who experience hearing loss, call 1-800-BELTONE today for your free hearing evaluation from the most trusted partner in hearing care.
It will improve your quality of life exponentially. Call Beltone today.
Home is not just something you can see or touch. Home is a feeling. It's the place where you feel safe to have those little moments that mean everything. At ADT, we believe that feeling should always be there. Whether it's at your house or your business, we help keep you safe so you can have those moments that make you feel at home. Wherever you are.
There is a criminal investigation going on of one of the president's top associates, his former national security advisor. He gets fired. He's under criminal investigation, and the president brings in the FBI director and says, please stop your investigation. Right. If that is an obstruction of justice, I don't know what is.
So that was legal analyst Jeffrey Toobin on another network tonight saying that Trump did obstruct justice. This is we look at more of Comey's opening statement. These are his notes from a March 30th call with President Trump about the Russia investigation, which the president referred to as a cloud. Comey writes, he asked what we could do to, quote, lift the cloud. I responded that we were investigating the matter as quickly as we could and that there would be great benefit if we didn't find anything to our having done our work well. He agreed, but then re-emphasized the problems that this was causing him. Here now, Fox News senior judicial analyst, Judge Andrew Napolitano.
Yes.
So is there any problem with that statement?
Well,
with the cloud? Can you get this off my back? Can we move past this?
I do not share the view of my friend and colleague Jeff Toobin that this is an open and shut case of obstruction of justice. In fact, reading the Comey statement, which I've done several times now, it's like a Christmas tree with ornaments on, and you find one that you like and you find one that you don't like. There's enough material here for the Democrats to throw some mud at the president's way tomorrow, and there's enough material here for Republicans, as Lindsey Graham did marvelously with you a few minutes ago, to say there is no here. Did the president actually obstruct justice? Well, no, because the process of investigating General Flynn is going on. Did he attempt to obstruct justice by saying, Flynn's a nice guy, I want you to make this go away? Apparently, the people at the FBI did not perceive it that way because the investigation continues to go on.
Is there anything in and of itself wrong with that? And do you think that prior administrations have had moments, whether it be the IRS investigation or the Hillary Clinton investigation or numerous others, where the president or someone close to him may have said, look, can we get past this?
You know, there's a theory of government called the unitary executive. Basically says everybody in the executive branch works for the president. If he asks you to do something, you don't want to do it, you quit. Mm-hmm. But he's the one that's answerable to the public. And the public is entitled to somebody that's answerable to them, and he gives the orders. That was the law of the land until Watergate. Post-Watergate, we have these floating islands of government independent of the president. The FBI is one, and the Justice Department is one. The president, Donald Trump, is probably of the view he runs the executive branch and he has the right to give the orders.
He's used to being the CEO, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's a big transition in a lot of ways. Let's take a look at one more of these quotes, which has to do with the loyalty pledge that James Comey says the president wanted him to make. Can we put that up on the screen? He basically said, he basically said, you know, will you be loyal? And he said, you know, well, I'll be honest with you.
Right.
I'll act it out. And then he said, you know, but I like honest loyalty, said President Trump. You know, you can read into that a lot of ways.
He told our colleague, Jeanine Pirro, that he never said that. So that may be a he said.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with loyalty unless loyalty is going to impair the independence of judgment. Loyalty could mean, can you give me a heads up before you do something? Not, will you always do everything I want you to do? So, look, all of this came out, in my view, to blunt the effect of the nomination of Christopher Wray as the head of the FBI. The Comey people wanted to sort of steal that
That's why it came out today. Because generally we get these things about an hour before the statement comes out.
At the most. I know Starwalt has another view, and he's more familiar with these things than I am. But generally, this is the way to capture the moment, and Jim Comey did. Are we talking about Christopher Wray? This is a big deal. This guy that's going to run the FBI, Chris Christie's former lawyer. No, we're not. We're talking about the statement that Jim Comey released because we're trying to figure out what he's going to say in response to that statement tomorrow. I think tomorrow will be incendiary. Until the statement came out, I thought tomorrow would be ho-hum.
Yeah.
I now think it's going to be incendiary.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think so too. Judge, good to see you.
Pleasure.
So here with more on this bombshell Comey statement that will be incendiary tomorrow, according to the judge. Chris Starwalt joins us now, Fox News politics editor. Chris, good to see you tonight.
Good to see you.
We're sort of picking through different parts of this. One of the parts that I thought of you when I read was the moment where Jim Comey and Donald Trump, the president of the United States, are alone in the room, and they've asked everyone else to leave the room, including Sessions and Kushner, who were the last two people to leave the room when the president made it clear, according to this account, that he wanted to be alone with the FBI director. And at some point, Reince Priebus sticks his head back in the door. Hey, what's going on? You guys about done in here?
Okay?
How do you read that? Were they concerned that he had sort of cornered Jim Comey in the Oval Office?
Yeah, well, as others have said before, the innocent way to read all of these things would be that Donald Trump didn't know how the FBI functions, how the Department of Justice functions, what the proper relationships are, all of that stuff, and that ignorant of these things, he just said, hey, I just want to get a side word with you, man. Take it easy on my boy. He's a good guy. Do what you can. And that he didn't know that he was doing anything wrong. But obviously the people around the president were like, oh boy, this is not what you're supposed to do. And also knowing that Comey, as sort of this, as the head prefect of the Washington Prep School, is going to be feeling very put out about this with a strong letter to follow, and they probably knew that this was a disaster in the making.
Another one that sort of stuck out to me was when two things. He said, James Comey said, I got back in the car, this FBI vehicle, and I started to immediately type notes because I wanted to remember everything that the president had said. He said, I began to type it on my laptop in an FBI vehicle outside Trump Tower the moment that I walked out of the meeting, creating written records immediately after one-on-one conversations, he goes on to say, with Mr. Trump was my practice from that point forward. This had not been my practice in the past. Your thoughts?
And he also makes a point that he only ever talked to Obama one-on-one twice, and once was a farewell, congratulations on not being president anymore in 2016 that he offered to him. What you have here, though, is Comey understanding that he has a bombshell on his hands, but also the way that James Comey gets himself into trouble. The way he gets himself into trouble is he is not a caring sharer. He determined that these things that he thought were so incendiary that he had to make a record of them should not be shared with Jeff Sessions, should not be shared with the acting deputy, should not be shared with all these other people, that he alone, El Coro alone, could be the only one who would handle this, and he would take the ball himself and not tell anybody else. Obviously, this was an improprietous conversation.
Which is reminiscent of the wrestling of the Hillary Clinton investigation.
Ding, 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 ding.
And deciding that he alone could decide on that, too. Chris, thank you very much. Great to see you tonight. So also breaking tonight, a potential blow to President Trump's foreign policy agenda as one of our key allies, South Korea, turns away a potentially life-saving gift from the United States. And the president trying to stay on message and get away from the Comey chaos on Capitol Hill and put America first. Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke was with the president in Ohio today, and he joins us live next.
Remember shovel ready, right? Shovel ready wasn't shovel ready. That I can tell you. We're not going to repeat that mistake.
If you have moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, isn't it time to let the real you shine through? Maybe it's time for Otezla, a Apremilast. Otezla is not an injection or a cream. It's a pill that treats plaque psoriasis differently. With Otezla, 75% clearer skin is achievable after just 4 months, with reduced redness, thickness, and scaliness of plaques. And the Otezla prescribing information has no requirement for routine lab monitoring. Don't take Otezla if you're allergic to any of its ingredients. Otezla may increase the risk of depression. Tell your doctor if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts, or if these feelings develop. Some people taking Otezla reported weight loss. Your doctor should monitor your weight and may stop treatment. Side effects may include diarrhea, nausea, upper respiratory tract infection, and headache. Tell your doctor about all the medicines you take and if you're pregnant or planning to be. Ask your dermatologist about Otezla today. Otezla, show more of you.
Think good things only come in threes? Introducing the Outback Aussie 4. Soup and salad, centre-cut sirloin and dessert. A 4-course meal starting at just $14.99. The Outback Aussie 4-course is a big win. But hurry in, it's not forever.
Do something. Oh, I'm not a security guard. I'm a security monitor.
Why monitor a problem if you don't fix it? LifeLock does more than free credit monitoring to help protect your identity. Join starting at $9.99 a month. Go to LifeLock.com.
Another oral health fact, brought to you by SmartMouth.
Mouthwash brands want you to believe that bad breath comes from germs alone. But trying to freshen breath by just killing germs isn't effective. Within an hour, those germs start coming back. Science proves that beating bad breath means beating sulfur gas. Here's your proof. My student here used typical mouthwash about an hour ago. Now let's use Mint by Breathometer to test for smelly sulfur gas. And look at that. Sulfur's off the charts. SmartMouth Activated Mouthwash is clinically proven to neutralize smelly sulfur gas and keep it from coming back for 12 hours with each rinse. SmartMouth works because you activate it, releasing zinc ions that actually block sulfur gas. The sulfur gas is gone, even 12 hours later. If you want truly clean breath for 24 hours, you need to fight the real cause of bad breath, sulfur. For that, you need to use SmartMouth Activated Mouthwash.
Look for our new dry mouth formula at Walmart.
Forge of Empires. Develop your own city from the Stone Age to the future. Available in the App Store and at FOE.tv.